Hello, welcome back to the PoddiMouths Podcast. I am Peyton Cubic, and this is where my dad and his friend John talk about random stuff in life or the things they found on the internet. I hope you enjoy listening to this episode as much as I did. Here they are now.
Yes, I know what we're going to talk about. So
why would I tell you?
That's all right.
Why would I tell you what we're going to talk about?
I'll find out soon enough.
You will.
And then
it should
I'll
be a
react
surprise. It's
just as our listeners and viewers would react with horror.
Kind of the plan. With horror. No, well, maybe.
See?
I don't know.
Told you.
You know, it's so I think one of my thoughts that I'm coming up with on the fly to justify my hitting the record button before we had a conversation about it was we have these great conversations before we ever hit record.
I know, but some of it's inappropriate.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. No,
but most of the people on the podcast are hoping for that. It's got to get.
Sure
this
they
has got to get better sometime.
Well, I guess then I'm not going to invite our church's women's group to listen.
No, just the men.
They probably are a little bit touchy too.
I don't know. You told me some interesting stories about your pastor in some of the not that he was doing anything, but some of the conversations he has been a part of.
I did not. Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
On the podcast.
I think he was
season 6 episode. No, I'm kidding.
He had a problem during one of his podcasts. That's possible. Yeah. It's funny you say that before we get to whatever you're going to surprise me with.
Well, I'll probably forget by then. But
well, you should write it down.
Yeah, I should.
I was going to say that. You should probably jot it down because you know how things come and go. Yeah, I've been trying to get our lead pastor to do a podcast, and I just don't have the time. And he's right; he doesn't. And and now he's on a sabbatical, which is great. He's well
now he's got the time.
I'll tell him that. Except I don't think he'll answer my texts because he'll think it's something about work, and sabbaticals are great, especially for pastors. And we had one in Wisconsin at our church that I think he had 4 months off. Something like that. Mm-hmm. But he had been there for 10 years or so, 7 years, I guess it was, without a sabbatical like that. You know, time off here and there. But they really need to have that time to be, to get recharged and so on. So I think that's an awesome thing if you can do that for some of these guys.
It's kind of like being a teacher.
It is. Well, yeah, it's a lot like that.
But they get paid more.
If they do it right. Well, and teach, yeah. Of course, this is the joke. And you only work 1 day a week. Oh, you want a pastor to really like you a lot. That's a good thing to say.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's that common line of crap that they hear. Anyway, so yeah, it's something that would be fun with him to do that, but it is such a time thing especially for a larger congregation.
It doesn't. I mean, knowing you just be there and talk a lot, and then let him do all the editing.
I'm not a big talker, unlike some people I know. I mostly like to react. Nicely done. I mostly like to react.
Yes, you're really good at that too.
I'm the representative of our listeners. So when you say something that is really awesome, I want to go, like it's really awesome and give you props.
Well, I've got AI to do that for me.
Maybe you do, but those little firework things. See, if I were shooting fireworks, you would have burns everywhere. So I shouldn't. Don't allow me to do that.
Just don't. Yeah. Oh, I've got to send you something that's really funny.
No.
It just reminded me of that.
Is it something I can show our listeners and viewers?
I can
show our listeners.
Our listener.
Look at this.
What's that one?
I can't hear what he's talking about.
That's a new
one.
They let me click on them now instead of. I got the hearts.
That was like a Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Not the hearts. The hearts is
thumbs up. The thumbs down.
Your hearts is kind of a Britney Spears thing.
Balloons. The rain cloud.
Wow.
That. We already did this one. And the fireworks.
That's
crazy.
It. Seems like
that's all you have the choices for. Yeah, you'd think, but I'm sure it'll come. It'll be in the next OS update because, it's really important.
Which stands for operating system, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us.
There you go.
Please continue.
So,
okay, did you send me something or no?
No, I have not. Oh, fine. John's going to make me send it to him now.
It's
probably smart that I send it to you now because I will forget.
I want to decide if it's okay to listeners and viewers. Not. I'm sort of trying to be your food taster.
What were we talking about?
Lord does not remember.
Because now I've literally forgotten which one because there's several that I wanted to send you. But now I've forgotten which one it was. It happens.
Welcome to the aged podcast of
the aged. Yeah. Well, I had food.
How is?
Right, well, I am going to send you this one because I think it's.
Now
you're
just
funny.
Making things up because you're. I heard the laughter.
Yes.
Okay.
You'll appreciate it. And I wouldn't share that one because it's political.
10 years from now, we're not going to unless it's something I agree with.
I don't think these are the ones that I wanted to, or the second one I sent you was the one I wanted to send you, but it works.
It's a video, so I'm not going to watch it now.
Yeah, don't watch it right now.
Because then I'd start laughing for no reason, and normally I only laugh when you say something awesome. So I'm kind of straight-faced right now. How long do we have to wait for this?
I was waiting. Dead air. John's over there. Dead air.
No,
we got to fill it with something.
I don't mind. It's like asking somebody to buy something from you. You just hold the pen out and say, just okay it right here for me. And you shut the hell up.
Yep. That's sales 101 right there.
It sort of is.
First person who says anything loses.
You got it.
What didn't see now I did for. Oh, no, I remember.
I told you to write it down.
Well, I remember, though. I don't need to. So, John.
Yes.
When I say we, I mean my wife and I, have started from season 1, episode 1, and we are going through Downton Abbey one more time. It's like our 4th time going through the series, and then we're going to watch the movies. Because what comes out in September?
No, is there another movie?
There's another movie that comes out in September.
Come on.
It's the last one. They even say it in the title. This is the last one.
Because all the characters are dying.
Yeah, exactly. Only the funny ones.
Yeah.
I really, as we're watching, I keep telling Jen that the best, I mean, everyone is great. I love everyone in the TV show and in the movies, but really it's the two. It's Lady Grantham, the dower.
Yeah. What do they call her? I know. Dang it. You just watched it. You should know.
Yeah, I did.
I know
call
what
her
you're talking about,
the old lady, but old lady Grantham.
Face.
Anyway, not to her face, no.
Yeah.
But she's the dowager something of Downton Abbey. And because what is he? He's an earl. And what is the opposite of an earl? Or the female version of an earl is because it's not earless.
Nope.
It's not baroness.
Earl,
it doesn't
lady.
Matter.
Earl and a Lady Grantham.
No, well, all of them are ladies. Any.
Damn it.
Yeah. Anyway,
I had it.
So there's that one, and then there's Mrs. Crowley, who is Matthew's mom,
right?
And Matthew, for those of you, I won't ruin it. For those of you who haven't watched, but anyway, but they start literally the first episode of the very first season. These two started sparring with each other. And it's just, and that's all, the whole TV show, all of the movies, that's all they do. They become best friends, but they're still sparring at each other all the time. And it's freaking hilarious.
It really is.
I really enjoy those two.
But you know what? And that was one of the most long lasting things too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they really did connect on that level. But yeah, just the back and forth.
Yeah.
And such good actors, both of them, actresses.
Both of them. Well, they've been in movies together that they basically do the same thing.
Yeah. Not a surprise.
How good they are.
Not a surprise. Yeah. Earl and Countess.
Countess, yeah. So the Dowager Countess. Dowager Countess.
Cool.
Yes.
So that is I love that. I like that you're doing it again. I think we've only been through it twice. With the movies and so on. And so September, you said, is the next movie. I don't want to tell Lisa because suddenly it's going to occupy all of our time.
It's okay. So, why not? It's enjoyable.
We're on our second time through Blue Bloods.
Really?
Nice.
I love me some Tom Selleck. I wish he would. I wish he would have done Magnum PI. Yeah, I wish he would have been the new Magnum PI when they decided to relaunch it.
we talked about the ages. So the guy who plays his pop, first of all, can we just say, you know the show.
Yeah.
No one looks like they're related to anyone.
No.
Yeah, maybe Aaron, who plays Tom Selleck's daughter. Okay, I could buy that. And her daughter actually looks like her, the one who plays her daughter. The rest of the family, nobody looks like anybody else.
Yeah. Well, they don't pick actors based on who they look like.
Well, no. But there should be kind of. Oh no, I guess not. You've never seen any of the. What was the Italian, the mobster show?
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
Goodfellas. No.
Well, that was a movie.
That was a movie.
Yeah.
Yes, I know which one you're talking about.
I didn't watch it, so I can't be held responsible for not knowing. But anyway, yeah, there's a similarity in all of them, and you could make it seem like they work together. These guys, no. There was a scene Tom Selleck was in with his son Jamie. Sorry, I don't know the actor. And they stood up, and Selleck is like 1.5 feet taller than he is. This is my son. What the hell happened? Something.
His mom was very, very short.
Apparently, she was a circus
4'9".
performer.
Yeah,
or something. But
yeah, I was going to say gymnast, but okay, circus performer.
Circus performer.
It is New York.
Wow. Yeah, we'll leave that alone. Anyway, so that's been fun. He is very close in age to the guy
to
who
his
plays
dad.
His dad.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, but Tom Selleck still. I mean, he's what? Almost 80.
Oh, he's over 80.
He's over 80.
He is.
He still looks like he's in his 60s.
He does. Certainly on the show, but they did like a last episode thing on a talk show, and he was kind of hunched over, and
he's starting to show his age.
If I make it to 80, I will definitely be hunched over. In fact, I'll pride myself in how hunched over I am. But anyway, that's it. So I get it. But yeah, he was slowing down just a little bit, it looked like. But a great act. Really a fun show anyway, I thought.
It is.
And I like Danny, his son Danny.
Yeah. Who's what is he? He's a...
damn it.
Oh, why?
He's a detective, I know.
Names today.
We're having trouble with it.
Marky Marks.
Donnie.
Mark Wahlberg. Donnie Wahlberg. Thank you.
Jeez. You're not fast enough getting to Google, John. Yeah, I know. Shazam. Anyway. It's a good show. No. And so it'll be fun. It'll be fun to get back into Downton.
Yeah.
So how far are you into your fifth
We're only in the second
time
season.
around?
We're halfway through the second season. So we've got several seasons to go, but we have until September. So
you can take your time.
Exactly. And that's why we're starting it now.
Okay.
It's but we're all excited. That is one of those shows. I think I mentioned this in the first couple of seasons when we talked about Downton. I walked into it thinking I'm going to hate this show.
Me too.
And Jen talked me into it, to just trying it, and because she had never seen it either. And we started the first couple of episodes to the point where she stopped watching it because sometimes she just does stuff where she doesn't watch TV for months at a time. And I watched all of them by myself and then told her, you really need to watch all of these. And then she got obsessed with it. And so now, like I said, this is like the fourth time we've gone through all of the series.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's a really well done show.
Absolutely it is. But I thought the same as you. I'm thinking, oh, great. Gosh, I wish I would have studied English literature more. No, said John never.
Right.
But it's really well done, as you said. I like Hugh Bonneville.
Yes.
He's terrific. Yeah. Anyway, so it's pretty cool. I'm glad to hear you're doing it. And don't tell my wife because we're not going to cross that bridge just yet. Excellent. Yeah, stop that right now. That's why I have her phone with me. I always take it when we do the podcast.
It's probably a good idea.
Yeah, I know.
Did you hear what John said?
Well, I know I didn't.
Not yet. I haven't listened to the episode.
Is it Tuesday? No, it's not Tuesday when we post our videos. Yes, and so I'm impressed that you remembered what you were going to say because normally you are like the waitress that waits on you at a restaurant and takes your order without writing it down.
Yeah.
I never know if you're going to remember.
No. And yeah, I don't either. That's it's kind of a game. It's like,
it
will make remember.
Game. Let me just say, as you get older, it becomes more of a game.
I bet.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I take omega-3.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. That's why I don't, because I always forget where I put it. So
well, they say when you age, your memory is the second thing to go.
And the first
I don't
one?
remember what the first thing is, but
you're welcome. All right. Take that show on the road.
We should.
We talked about that. Go ahead.
I was going to say, we're almost like, so now I forgot their names.
You can tell when it's going to be a good podcast episode.
I could see their faces.
70% of the crap we're going to talk about.
So it's not Chevy Chase, but who are the other Three Amigos?
Martin Short.
Martin Short and Steve Martin.
Steve Martin.
We're Martin Short and Steve Martin. You're Martin Short.
Who was I was thinking of the other what was the other one that was it not Three Amigos? Oh, it was City Slickers. With Bruno who's passed away since, sadly.
Yeah, and Billy Crystal.
Billy Crystal was in that as well with the coffee grinder.
Yeah.
Caused the stampede.
Would be me. That would definitely be me.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny with that movie. You look at it thinking that they were going back to the outdoors and that it was, all of this. But if you really look at people that do the outdoor stuff, like, I try to do it. I'm not as prolific in it as some of the ones that we watch on YouTube. Sure. But you've got even those that are on YouTube that are overlanding, and the rigs that they have, they're we're out in the middle of nowhere, no signal, and doing this and doing that. But they have their hand grinder and they're making espressos, and it's like you don't need your house anymore. You just need to be able to pack your refrigerator in the back of a Jeep and go in the middle of nowhere, and you can eat like a king.
So when you pack your fridge in the back of a Jeep, do you just like lay it down like the one from the kitchen? You just lay it down.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of like
want to
that.
make sure. Hey, it's a good way to not have to spend money on a separate fridge.
Right. Doesn't quite fit in the back of the Jeep though, unless you've got a mini fridge.
No, mini fridge would be the only thing to fit. We did though when we went on our road trip, which was almost 3 weeks, and we didn't talk about it at length, but it was.
And this was 2 weeks ago, right? That you got back.
2 weeks ago, and it was, it was good, but I remember packing everything and trying to make it so I could still see out the back window, without having stuff stacked too high, and a couple of suitcases, and of course we had to bring our golf clubs, even though I only played golf once,
of course,
and Lisa didn't play at all, so but the space right behind, we folded down the rear seats.
And he took the Jeep, by the way, folks.
We did take the Jeep, yes. But the space right behind the front seats, they fit crosswise, which was awesome.
Yes.
I wasn't sure they were going to.
Yep.
And then because we had to take along 2 camp chairs that we never used either.
Yeah, of course.
I envisioned us as we were driving north that let's just take a little stop and pull over and wherever and, set up our camp chairs. And, oh, hell no. No, that's not at all what happened. We pulled over, filled up with gas, peed, and ready? I'm ready. Let's go. And that was our pump up talk, and off we go again for another 6 hours or whatever the heck it was.
Wow, you got 6 hours out of the gas tank, huh?
We probably not, but
either gas tank, either one.
My tank, exactly. Of more concern. We got pretty good mileage, though. I think.
Did you? Good.
I didn't really keep track. I'm sure I could check the computer, but I don't really care enough to do that. So anyway, it was a good trip though, and it was but glad to be home when you're gone for that long. So that's where I don't get snowbirds that have a separate residence up north someplace and then come back to Florida in the winter. I don't know how you leave your other house for months. I don't know how you do it.
I know how my parents did it. They had people watching over the house, whichever house they're not in.
If it's a condo, that makes perfect sense because my mom and stepdad, before he passed, had a condo in Arizona, in Mesa.
Yep.
And it was a 55 plus community and all that, But it was they had a nice little community and that was all great. But then when they were done, they just, okay, we're out of here. And everybody in the office knew and their neighbors knew. And so
did they rent it out in the summer?
They didn't. Nope. It was just vacant.
My mom and my stepdad rented it out for the first couple of years. They had it for, 10 or 15 years.
Okay.
First couple of years they would rent it out in the summer, but then they stopped doing that. But they had someone that would go in there once a week just to make sure everything was just to make sure everything was good.
And was that so? It was a house or a condo?
It was a condo.
Okay.
It was a 55 plus community in Arizona, just north of Fountain Hills.
Okay.
Rio Verde.
Okay.
But the house in Minnesota, my stepbrother lived down the street, so he would go in and check it once a week. Or his wife would go and check it once a week just to make sure nothing was burning down.
Remiss.
Yeah. So that's a miss. Exactly. So that's how they handled that. But no, I can see what you're saying. I mean, you probably would if that was something that was common. You'd probably have the same
plan for it. We have some friends who just they leave to go. They have a place in the mountains, and we stayed there a couple of nights on the way back. And their house here, though, they put all the storm shutters on before they leave.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, boy, all right. You're really committed to leaving. And
yes.
So, what you want to do, because you do not want your house to be unsafe in a hurricane. That's for sure.
Oh, I was going to say what you would do because you don't want to spend summers in Florida.
Well, I do, but yes, there have been, let's just say the pool has been busy today because it's a little steamy out there.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
Yeah.
I'm also, it's, and I don't want to jinx anything, so I'm knocking wood right now.
Excellent. No jinxing.
That's me knocking wood. You guys haven't had any major storms come through yet?
No, and it's early in the season. It's usually later, especially last year. There were 3 in the last month.
Yeah, right back to back.
Yeah, and it was, and at some point we're just going, come on.
Yeah.
And the only thing we're afraid of is flooding because we're not sure, the house is 2 years old and a little more than that. And we really haven't experienced if a serious flood issue came around.
I think one of those storms, though, had very serious flood impacts.
Yeah, Milton did.
Yeah, most storms didn't, and you guys were fine. So.
It had an 8-foot storm surge, as I recall, and it did some serious damage a half an hour away on the coast. And I mean, we talked about it, 2 feet of sand on the streets.
Yeah.
Holy crap. But we, even though the water was coming up our driveway a little bit, it did not get near the house. So I don't know. It makes me feel a little better, but I'm still.
You just never know.
You don't know. And that's part of the fun, I guess.
I don't know if we'd go with fun, but okay.
Maybe not fun, but a lot of people are rethinking their Florida residence after those 3 or 4 storms at the end of the year.
If it makes you feel better, I rethought my Florida residence when I wasn't even living there.
Oh, stop being a crybaby.
It's too humid for me. It's too humid here, even driving around right now in the summer of Tennessee. And I will say that I still don't think it's as humid here as it was when I lived in St. Louis. St. Louis was probably the most humid place I've ever lived.
Chicago was humid in the summers too.
Yeah.
A lot of the inland stuff is bad.
Going to Florida. Okay, let me rephrase. Miami is the most humid place I have ever been.
Okay.
Unless you go to the beach, and when you're on the beach, it's fine. But when you're off on the streets, away from the beach, I just couldn't. But I am. If I'm gonna live somewhere warm, like I actually get a choice to live somewhere warm, I'm moving to someplace like Arizona where it's dry. I don't like humidity.
And we honestly, had our son not moved here to Florida, we would have gone to Arizona.
Yeah.
And I still like it there, and I like the topography and all of that, but no ocean, no Gulf.
Yeah.
And I would have, now knowing that, I would have missed that. And it's the city thing versus obviously there are places in Arizona that aren't cities, but we were always around Phoenix because we'd fly in there, and we liked Scottsdale, and we liked, some of the areas surrounding Gilbert and some of those other smaller areas, but you're still in the midst of city driving. And I know what that's all about. We're, 2 miles from a major highway, but it's like we're still in the country here.
Yeah.
That change is a little bit of a difference maker.
Yeah. Even at that, if I ever did do that, I would probably want to live somewhere around Flagstaff. up in the mountains where
and
it's
you get
still
some
cool.
snow. You get some snow up there. Yeah.
Yeah. But anywhere in the West, I would probably be happy. Even at my dad's place, no one around, which that is starting to become more appealing as I age.
Yeah.
But it's very dry up there too.
Mm-hmm. And he gets the winters.
He does get the winters, but even that, the snow doesn't necessarily last that long.
No,
because my joke is, it snows in western North Dakota, but then the wind blows and it all goes over to Minnesota.
It's probably true. Well, it's a nice area, and I'm especially when you're western North Dakota.
Yes,
you're in the hills more. You have at least some of that rather than
he actually
flat.
lives in the Badlands.
Well, that's awesome, and that's a beautiful area. South Dakota, you get the Black Hills in that western area. It's also really pretty.
It's gorgeous. It is very. I think it's underrated. I think a lot more people. I know people that live there probably would hate me saying this, but I think a lot more should happen tourist wise, and not just because of Mount Rushmore or Crazy Horse.
But you should see those.
Oh, absolutely.
Crazy Horse makes me sad because it will never come to fruition. It just won't. And even well beyond our lifetimes. I don't think that's even the plan anymore. They show it under construction and they charge you $25 to park.
Yeah, we didn't even actually go up there. Because you can see Crazy Horse from the road.
Yes, that's true.
So we just slowed down and went, oh, that's cool. That's very cool. Let's go to Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. And Rushmore was worth it. It's just really cool to see when you've seen so many pictures and images over the years of it, and then to see it in person. It's big, and it's really impressive to see.
Yeah, and when we went, we paid for parking, which I think was like $15. It wasn't horrible, but we were only there for 15 minutes because nothing was open. We went right when it opened.
Oh, okay.
And so we walked up, looked at it, looked around, thought, well, this is pretty cool. None of the museums or anything, or even the food place was open yet. We're like, oh, this is really cool. Yeah. Took a few pictures, hit the restrooms, and then we headed off.
Off we go. Well, that's awesome. That's all you have to do.
But speaking of, I want to get back to that because that was a Jeep road trip that we did that in. And the biggest difference, I think, we have talked about it before, but now that you've actually experienced a road trip, remember your Jeep and my Jeep are very different on the inside because I have the battery. And I was actually explaining this to Peyton today when we were riding around in it because I don't remember why. Because I will probably end up, and there's a whole backstory to this, I will probably end up turning in this Jeep. And I have been promised by my wife that once the mid-sized truck gets, when that lease is up, then turn it in and she gave me permission to go buy another Jeep. So I will probably end up doing that, which actually is not a bad thing. And I know I'm getting off topic. It should surprise no one.
Hey, welcome to PoddiMouths.
Right, exactly. But it should actually be better because I have found out that the battery, not that I'm going to do another 4xe, but they have made some improvements to the battery system that's going to be coming out in 26. But also, if you think about it, 27 should be the new Wrangler models. Not saying that I'm going to like it, but they usually do the changeover on the 7s.
Square headlamps.
Square, go back to square headlamps. Because that worked.
Just kidding. Yeah, sure did. That was a good idea.
Anyway, so getting back to that, because I have the battery in the back, when I fold down my seats, two things. One, my seat where you actually sit folds up, and then the seat backs fold down.
Got it.
So it takes about 4 or 5 inches out of the space that you would normally have in your Jeep, for example, because your seats just fold straight down. And also, when John folds his seats all the way down, there's no lump. It's just a flat space in the back.
Pretty flat.
Mine, because the battery's sitting there, there's an 8-inch lip, basically.
8 inches?
So there's 8 inches, yep.
Okay.
So
right.
There's the back where the regular back, the trunk space, and then there's 8 inches, and then the back of the seat, which does lay flat at that point. But unless you have something that's 8 inches taller in the back, you can't lay flat. John's Jeep, if I had it next to mine and had the seats laid down in both, and even if I had that 8-inch lift in the rest of the back, I'm 6 feet exactly. I can lay straight on in his back seat. I can't do that in mine. I have to lay at an angle because I've got 5 or 6 inches taken out.
If I ask Lisa, I'm not sure you could do that in mine either.
Probably not, no. But anyway,
Lisa weren't here.
But they make mattresses for yours, so you can get a blow-up mattress that lays flat in the back, and you can actually camp in the back of your Jeep. You can't do that in mine. So I've lost a little bit of space in the back, and that causes an issue when you're packing for camping and stuff like that, especially if you're 3 people and 2 dogs.
Of course.
You were lucky because it was just you and Lisa, so you could lay everything down flat.
Well, in that case, though, you're going to leave the seats up anyway. So, 3 people and 2 dogs. Yeah. Well, I guess. Are you putting the dogs?
It's a split. It's a
60-40 or
60-40 split, something. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the bigger part stays up where Peyton and the dogs sit, and then one of them gets laid down so we can put more stuff. Usually the cooler.
Sure.
If I'm being honest. But same issue. I have a little bit more of an issue because I like to use the rear view and I can't see out of the back when we pack it.
Yeah,
and that's one of the biggest issues that I've had with this Jeep. And that's why I looked at the truck to be the replacement, but it's not going to be a good replacement because it's a mid-sized truck. I've got a daughter with very long legs and she doesn't fit very well in the back of that truck. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't quite work. And I still am obsessed with the Jeep. Yep. So.
Well, we've enjoyed ours. It was the first day of our road trip, and we got, we were north of Atlanta is where we ended up. And Lisa said to me, my back feels, and she's had some back issues. My back feels great after riding that long. I know. I was so happy. And mine was good, too. You have to work harder to drive them.
Yes.
The F-150, you're just hanging back that as you're driving it because
you don't even have to touch the steering wheel.
It's like the Tesla on self-drive.
Yeah.
But
Jeep, not so much.
This one, you got to kind of pay attention, and you hit a bump that's not equal front side tires. You're going to go one direction or the other. But other than that, it's once you figure that out, you just pay closer attention and it's fine.
So that's one other thing they're fixing in all the Jeeps for 26 is that it's supposed to be more responsive for freeway driving, which that's going to piss a lot of Jeep people off. But at the same time, not as many people are true Jeepers that drive Wranglers anymore.
We call them,
which is good and not good all at the same time.
Jeeple.
Sheeple, exactly. Jeeple.
Sheeple.
Oh,
that's
Jeeple?
Different.
Jeeple.
Okay, so on this same topic-ish area, I said we stopped and visited some friends in North Carolina on the way home, which was kind of cool because we were able to take a different route than avoiding Chicago on both ends of it. No offense,
good
Chicago.
Job.
Well, it's just the traffic part that you don't know about, unlike Indianapolis or even Nashville and Knoxville. You can get around those areas if you need to.
Yes.
And Chicago, you're kind of stuck because of Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
So anyway, we tried to avoid it. We got to North Carolina, had a great time. These guys they've had one before, but they bought an RV. And they had sold the other one, and I don't think we'll get another one. And because they take a couple, maybe 5 road trips a year, they thought, well, this is better. And they're right. For them, it's a good fit. This is a small one. It's a tiny Class C.
Okay.
And
so not quite a van, but
a van chassis. And it has the wider back part to it. It was he got a great deal on it because it had hardly any miles, hardly any hours on the generator. And so we hopped and he says, let's go up to one of the mountains and so we went up to 5,000 feet ish and did like a pull off on the side of the road and parked and sat in the back. It doesn't have any slide outs. Sat in the back and the girls were having some wine and we were
nice.
We're just sitting there looking at this beautiful, vista out over the Appalachians, up at the Smokies. And it was just really cool. And Lisa apparently said to our friend, Leslie, I really like this. And I'm like, what?
Nice.
Miss Marriott likes.
But let's before you go did she get a chance to try out the bathroom?
Well, I don't think she did, although it was open and it was fine. And this one had a rear bath, which is the hot tip if you're looking for a smaller one. It had a couch that converted to the only bed. I'm talking, this was 22 feet, maybe at the most. It had a little dinette and the rear bath and very little storage. It's small, but it was nicely done. And she said, I really like this. So
yeah, well, she needs to try the bathroom first, and then that'll be. I
don't disagree. And then she needs to learn how to dump the black tank. It's not just kidding. But anyway, that would be the test. And the other part we noted was that there is a gap of almost 2 inches below the bathroom door. And I'm asking my buddy Herb, I go, why is that? He says, I don't know. And I still, maybe somebody can tell us with RV smarts why there's such a big gap. I mean, I get there. You want some, because if you're on terrain that's, you want to have a little bit of flexibility, but it's maybe not an inch and a half minimum is the gap. And I'm like,
interesting.
What the heck? So anyway.
Well, folks, if you are an RVer, please leave a comment.
There we go.
Head up to PoddiMouths.com.
Please do.
And tell us any of the systems out there, any of the what would you call that?
Systems
where people listen. Wherever you listen, you can leave a comment, like and subscribe.
Like a system like YouTube, for example.
Smash that like button.
Oh my gosh, you were trying to get it to do.
I am so good at this.
You were trying to get it to do the effects, weren't you? Do it.
No, I
do thumbs up. Yeah, there they are. We go. Okay, good, nicely done.
Camper, and so that sounds like fun. I look at campers. I think, and I have made my wife extra bougie since I married her, because she would never be this picky. But even she's like, yeah, if we ever did a camper, it would probably have to be like an Airstream. And because I do like Airstreams, but I'm still drawn to the pop-up tent or the rooftop tent or a trailer with a tent on the top.
I'm just not a tent guy.
You're just there to sleep in it. The only thing we're missing, as we've mentioned in the past, is a bathroom.
Yeah, and that's problematic.
Yeah, I still want to be able to, not that we ever really do or would, I still want to be able to get to places that most campers can't get to.
Well, but they make them that anywhere your Jeep can go, those things can go,
I know.
They're expensive.
But the ones that are like that, though, that have the bathroom, that have the solid body
kitchen,
they're extremely expensive, and believe it or not, the Jeep can't tow them.
I do believe that, because Jeeps can't tow anything heavy.
They can't tow much. 3,500 pounds is the max they can tow. That's a Wrangler.
That it varies. There are some now. There was a change, at least in one of the
upcoming. Yeah, yes.
Yeah, so
but it's still not very much.
No, 5,000 max. Any of them.
Well, I wouldn't even go. That would be pushing it for any Wrangler.
Check with
now,
your dealer.
A Gladiator can tow 7,500 pounds. So if you still want the Jeep and you want to tow something, you can. Yeah, but the Wranglers, mine can only tow 35, and they even say that's really kind of pushing it. But so
not much. You're right about that.
Yeah, you want to go with a truck or I guess a Gladiator is technically a truck. But,
it is.
Or a larger SUV, something that can pull more. The Jeep just can't do it, which kind of sucks.
Or get a Class C or Class A. That is.
Yeah, you could do that too.
The motorhome.
But then you're not driving a Jeep. They should make a Jeep Class C.
Tow a Jeep.
Or you could tow a Jeep. Yeah. You could.
I see some of these with, and we've talked about the semi. You
love those. I know you love those.
I really do. Because I know it's going to pull a fifth wheel like you don't even know it's there, because you've got a 500,000 mile Volvo with an automatic transmission, for Pete's sake.
Yeah,
and it'll pull whatever the heck you want, and you can set them up so it can put mount a Jeep on the back.
Yeah. Have you been watching any of the recent KYDs?
I haven't. I haven't watched them for a while, and not that I don't like them, but I just haven't for a while. Keep your daydream is what it stands for if you're looking for them on YouTube.
They just bought a new truck.
And what do they buy?
It's a Ford F-350.
350 is a big one.
Yeah. Well, it's the same one. It's the same model they had before.
Dually?
I don't know if I think it's a dually.
You need to research these things better before you bring them up on
25.
such a prestigious podcast as this.
But you should watch it because he likes to tinker on his and he's put now he's got 2 different horns on it, one for her, one for him.
What?
And you should watch it. But
do you mean like horns like this, or do you mean beep horns?
Semi horns?
Oh,
they're actually under the truck.
Wow.
So hers is a lot higher pitched, his is a lot lower pitched. It's pretty funny.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would definitely encourage you to watch a couple of those. They still do a great job, and it's still very fun.
Oh, but they're fun to listen to too, because they're professionals with all of their production.
Yeah. Unlike us.
We didn't pretend to be.
No. Never. Not in 7. I guess, as many hours as we've put into this, though, we technically are experts.
Sure, let's call it that. Yeah, I know.
It's not working.
I know it's not.
There we go.
There it is. Okay.
There it is.
We're experts.
For those of you who are listening, we're just playing with the effects that I have on my computer. Anyway.
Nicely done.
I think that's pretty much all I have to say. One last never talked out.
Okay,
that could never happen. One last thing I wanted to add, though, because you were talking about Jeep mileage and gas mileage.
Yep.
Right now, because I have 2 things. One, I have my car from work, my work car, my lease car, which you were mentioning about not being able to see out the back using the rear view. The one thing I love about this particular vehicle is it has a normal rear view.
Camera.
If I were to stack stuff up in the back where I couldn't see, I flip a button and it's got a rear view camera.
That's cool.
On the rear view. And it's different from my backup camera. So the backup camera is much lower. It's like by the license plate.
Yep.
This one's up top. So it looks like
it's a rear view mirror.
A rear view mirror. So that's pretty cool. I wish I could do that. I might, if I ever add that stuff to the Jeep, I might just have an aftermarket tool like that, because that would be very, very cool.
Well, and you could have a separate monitor on the dash, iPad-ish type thing.
Right. Well, so now you bring up another. See, we're going to just keep going. But in the Jeep right now, because it's not driven daily. So Jen's driving the truck pretty much daily, which she doesn't go far anyways. So she could technically drive the Jeep and still get this. But the Jeep pretty much sits in the garage, and we only take it, like today, we took it to the CSA place. Then I went to get the car washed because I got a little mud on it when Jen and I were riding around in it last week. I know. Tragedy. Anyway, I got the car washed. But all of that is still within the 22-mile battery range. And because that's pretty much all that Jeep gets now, we are sitting at 34 miles to the gallon, an average of 34 miles to the gallon.
Excellent.
In a Wrangler. In a brick on wheels. In a car that weighs a ton.
More than that,
yeah. It's I'm pretty impressed by that, though. That's a big thing.
Ours has been good too, and again, I'm not sure what the numbers are.
Probably 17, 18 miles to the gallon.
I would say in that vicinity would be my guess, but because now I've put in the KLM Air thing. Yeah, I like to step on it because it does the wall. And people will look. Yeah, people look at you and go, "Is that a Jeep?" Yeah, it's only a V6. It's not a Hemi. So,
and so the last thing that I'm going to say is you were talking about getting a separate screen. You might not have to anymore, because I've seen some of the demos from the new iOS that's coming out from Apple, which is completely changing the functionality of CarPlay. And so I'm really excited about that, because there are a few things that you can't do with CarPlay now that you can later. And that's one of them. It'll read certain things. It'll actually tap into the car's computer now and give you readouts on things. So I'm kind of excited to see what that all entails when it comes out. But that definitely will have to be a topic of one of our PoddiMouths episodes.
I bet Android Auto will do something very similar.
Oh, they have to. They're going to have to keep up. They're going to have to catch up.
What? Catch up? Oh, no.
Catch up.
No.
Yeah.
The leaders are not.
On that
apples.
note, let's say goodbye to.
It's a good
anyway,
note.
folks. You have a fantastic rest of your week. Come check us out back here every Tuesday. That goes live at 6 a.m. It goes live on YouTube at 6:15 a.m. Usually, if I do everything the way I hope to, always. Anyway, come back and see us again soon, or come and listen to us again soon. John, It's been wonderful as always.
Always good to see you, brother. Check out the merch store. Make sure you wear that PoddiMouth pride visibly. PoddiMouths pride. I don't know. Maybe that's our next T-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, everyone. Talk to you later.
See ya.